Hello, fellow weirdos. It is Tuesday, and that means it's time for another Weird Bible Stories with Pastor Pam. They say there are only two certainties in life, death and taxes. Now, I don't know who they are, but when it comes to the average person, they are right. Jesus, however, was not average. Jesus defeated death, so why not take on taxes too? In the Gospel of Matthew, there are 4 verses in chapter 17 where Jesus and Peter have a conversation about taxes. Some tax collectors came to Peter's home in Capernaum asking if Jesus paid the temple tax. Peter answers that yes, he does. Once they leave, Jesus, who has overheard this conversation, asks Peter a question. Do the kings of earth take taxes from their children or from others? Peter responds, from others. Then the children are free, Jesus says. His conversation with Peter reminds us that the kings of old didn't tax their own family. As the Son of God, shouldn't Jesus be exempt from the temple tax then? And yet the temple tax was not the place where Jesus was going to plant his flag. He knew that he was the Son of God, but the world didn't understand that yet. And claiming that identity would have been seen as both arrogant and blasphemous. It wasn't time to share that information yet, so Jesus instructed Peter to pay the tax, and this is where the story gets weird. Jesus continued speaking, and he says to Peter, "However, so we do not give offense to them. Go to the sea and cast a hook, and the first fish that you catch, check its mouth, and in its mouth you will find a coin. Take that and pay the tax for you and for me." There are a few interpretations out there about this passage. One, on the surface level, is that it's a passage about a tax that was required of all adult males in order to pay for the upkeep of the temple in Jerusalem. If we look a little deeper, it could be a sign of Jesus' discomfort with how the finances of the temple were being handled. And as such, it could be a passive political resistance. But my personal favorite interpretation is that Jesus, like so many of us, is being ironic and humorous when it comes to discussing taxes. Maybe I'll win the lottery. Maybe the previous homeowners buried a bag of cash in the yard and they forgot about it. Go catch a fish and you'll find the money for the tax in its mouth. There are a few legends and folk tales that Jesus would have known, where money or other valuables were found within fish. Most common at the time was the story of Polycrates and his ring, which was thrown into the sea, but returned to Polycrates in the belly of a fish. But there was also similar Jewish folklore. Despite Jesus' humor in this story, there's a serious undertone to it from the start. Jesus was willing to pay the tax. His priority is to proclaim the good news of God's kingdom. And if he were to oppose paying the tax, he couldn't do that. It would have seriously hampered his mission. He knows that moving forward with his message is more important than picking a battle over tax that could seriously jeopardize the work that he and his disciples were trying to do. It's a good reminder to us, and it should make us think. What are the sticky things in our lives that prevent us from living out our calling from God? And how can we, with God's help, move past them? Thanks for joining me today. I'll be back with another morning meditation next Tuesday, where I'll start to get into the Halloween spirit by sharing a story that would probably be just at home in a slasher movie, as it is in the Bible. Peace be with you, friends.